Hey guys, I'm sorry that I couldn't be here with you today. I had to unexpectedly be absent today as well, and I'm so sorry. But we can't really get behind because the snow days have already put us behind a little bit already. So I'm going to go ahead and let you start working on your self-portrait project with the substitute teacher. So I'm going to show you in this video how to get started, and I'm going to give you some examples of how to start shading in on your face, and hopefully you'll catch on and you'll be able to understand. If not, in about 30 minutes, Miss White is going to come down and check on you guys, and she'll be able to answer any questions that you might have. Okay? So, Miss White took pictures of you guys on Friday, and she didn't print out those pictures. She left the camera with me so that I could print those pictures out of you, and I gave those printed out pictures to the sub. By this point, if the sub read my directions, he or she should have already passed out your picture that Miss White took. I've got a picture of Elvis here as the example. Yours should have your face here. And the sub should also have given you a piece of white drawing paper. Okay? So, after you watch this video, you're going to take the white paper, yours will be blank like this, and you're going to take some masking tape. You'll have to get this masking tape from the sub. It's on the desk. And you're going to take a little piece, you're going to put a little piece on the top of the drawing paper, and you're going to put a little piece on the top of your portrait, your picture that Miss White took. You're going to tape the picture to the windows outside in the hallway, across the hall from our room, and then you're going to center the drawing paper on top of that picture that's already on the window, because you want your image to show through centered onto the drawing paper. And you're going to tape the drawing paper across the top over the top of your picture that has been printed out, like so. And then you'll take a wooden pencil, not a mechanical pencil, you'll take a wooden pencil, and you'll begin to trace the outer edges of your face that you can see through the drawing paper. Notice that I have begun to trace Elvis's face here. So what I did, I'm going to put them side by side so you can see them, is I only traced the outline of the parts of his face and his clothing that I could see. So I traced most of the outer edge of his face and his hair. You can see that here. Okay. I also traced in his eyes and what I could see of his eyebrows. You'll see that on the drawing paper. But when I got to the nose, this area over here was in shadow, and I couldn't see that very well through my drawing paper. You might run into this as well. So I left out what I couldn't see and only drew what I could see. I did the same thing on the lips and his jacket or shirt. Okay? So what you'll do after you get done tracing everything that you can see, you'll come back into the classroom and have a seat at your desk, and you will begin to freehand draw what you couldn't see. So I'm going to move Elvis over here to the side, and I'm going to put my drawing paper over here on the right hand side because I'm right-handed, and I'm going to look at the shape of his nose right in here, and I am going to try to freehand draw, using my contour drawing skills, what I know that should be shaped like based on how I can see it. And it should be shaped like that. And I'm going to go in and I'm going to finish out his mouth. It should be like that. Then this part should come in like this. And his lips should kind of go in like so. Excuse me, I have been sick. Now, I've got the mouth and the nose fixed. I'm going to go up and I'm going to do a little bit of work on the eyebrows, because I don't quite have all of his eyebrows drawn in right here. So if you look right there, you can see there's a little smattering of little eyebrow hairs that are real light. So I'm just going to go in and kind of draw that edge over there just lightly so that I know that those two are connected, and I'll shade that in later. I'm going to kind of fix this area here because it should be brought in more like that. You can kind of see that here. And then over here on this side, I'm going to attempt to fix his ear because I did not get that right. See how I made the hair go off like this? Well, if you look over here, we can see much more of the hair in front of Elvis's ear. So I am going to try to fix that really quick. I'm going to erase out that line right there. And this one. And you're going to draw the inside part of his ear here. Okay? And then this part was his neck. And so I'm going to look at that shirt. The shirt's going to come down like this. And it's going to kind of curve in like that. And then there's a part right here that's going to come down and around like that. That part's going to go up. That part's going to look like that. And then over here, this part is going to come down like this. It's going to come up like that. And we really can't see what all's going on over here. So we're going to kind of leave that alone because it's really dark right in there. And we can't really see what's going on. Okay? At this point, I would not go in and I would not draw individual hair to represent Elvis's hair because you're going to do that with value changes. Okay? Or you're not drawing Elvis, you're drawing yourself, obviously. I wouldn't draw the individual hair that you would see in your own photo of yourself. Okay? I do want you to make sure that your pencil is sharpened before you begin this next step because you're going to take your pencil, you're going to kind of lay it on your side, and you're going to kind of color in this whole area with a mid-tone gray. Okay, this is called laying the tone, and it kind of works like this. I'm going to move the picture over. I usually start in a corner up top, and I lay my pencil sideways, so the side of the lead is touching the paper, and you're just going to gently lay in a gray area. Yes, it's going to feel weird. You're not going to understand why you're coloring in this whole area that you just drew, but humor me and do it. And go ahead and fill in the whole thing. I know it feels wrong to color over your drawing, but this will help you later. Again, I apologize for the coughing. I have been sick. Okay. So I got all that mid-tone gray in there like so now. And now I'm ready to work. Okay. I'm going to show you guys how to do an eye, how to do the nose, how to do the lips, and a little bit of the hair, and then I'm going to let you kind of get busy on your own and work on this by yourself, okay? I'm going to start with this eye right here. I'm just going to move this picture over so you can see Elvis's eye better. So the first thing I want to do is I want to begin to darken up the areas around his eye that should be really dark. If you'll remember, we used value scales to represent how much gray we should have in a picture, okay? So I can get my value scale out. I know already that Elvis's shirt is going to be 0. But there are areas around his eye that are going to be 0 as well, okay? So I need to get some of those areas really, really dark. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make this upper area where his eyelashes are just a dark solid line. We don't want to technically draw eyelashes, we just want to make a solid shape where they would be, like a solid line. And then I'm going to leave these two little circles that I have here open because that's where the glare marks are, But around those little circles is his pupil, and his pupil is really dark black. So I'm going to try to fill that in really quick. Trying really hard not to fill in those two glare marks. And then the iris, which would be the colored part of your eye, it tends to be a darker gray tone. It's not really ever black, unless you have really, really dark brown eyes. Now, right around Elvis's iris is a dark line, so I'm just going to kind of outline that iris part. Okay? The white of his eyes will stay white, but the skin around it will need to be gray. So I'm just going to kind of darken that area up a little bit. And then right around in here, this part right in here, it's a darker gray than this area of the face right in here. So we want to make it darker. So we're just going to kind of make some dark hatching marks underneath his eye. And we're going to take a blending stump and we're going to blend that area in. So I'm just going to take the blending stump and just gently blend that area in right in there. I'm going to blend it out into the cheek area, like so, just like this, because eventually you're going to smooth in this entire area of the face so that all these pencil marks go away and you just have a smooth area of skin. You may need to clean your blender stump up when you get yours out, because this one seems like it might be kind of dark, so you may want to use the sandpaper. Now if you'll look right above Elvis's eye here, there's a dark line, so I'm going to try to get that dark line in there. That's the wrinkle or the crease of his eyelid above his eye. So you want to kind of get that in. I'm also going to take the blender and blend in and around it because it's darker right above Elvis's eye as well. Just going to blend all that in really, really well around his eye. And you will notice already that that's beginning to look more 3D, more realistic as we begin to shade there. I'm going to make that line darker again, just kind of go over it since we blended some of it out. And then I'm going to look right here, and I'm going to see that there's a darker area right in there. Just going to gently make a darker shadow right in there a little bit with my pencil. And then I'm going to work on the eyebrows. So I'm going to make those dark. And right in here, I'm just going to kind of do that business, because if you'll look, it's real thin, a little smattering of hair. But it's really dark right in this area here. And then it kind of gets gray as we go out to the outer edge, and then dark again right in there. So I'm going to keep all those value changes in there. And you'll see already that we're starting to get a more three-dimensional eye right there. Okay? Notice that right in here, Elvis has a highlight on his nose. So you would go in and you would take your eraser if you had highlights on your face, and you would just kind of erase those areas out a little bit. Just like you did on your styrofoam cup, trying to get those extreme highlights in there. Just going to erase that out a little bit. Right in here. Then I'm going to go back with my blender and make sure that I get this area right under the eyebrow dark, because it's dark. And it's kind of got a shadow on into his forehead right here. That area right there has an extreme glare on it. You can kind of see it. Extreme glare here. You'd put an extreme glare there if you were working in that area. Okay? Alright, so that's how you do an eye. Okay? Now I'm going to work a little bit on his nose to show you how to do the nose. What I like to do is I like to go ahead and put in the darkest shadows, which would be the shadows underneath the nose. And for Elvis's picture over here on this side, it's going to have a dark shadow too. So I get the dark shadows in first, then I go in and smear everything out, and I'll erase out the glares. Okay? So, I'm going to start with this shadow here in his nostril because it seems to be the darkest. Just kind of playing on that, and then I'm going to grab it underneath here. It's a little dark right on the tip of the nose right there, so I'm going to kind of go in right there. And then right in here, it's a little darker. And then right above this glare, it's pretty dark. And it stays dark all the way into this eye here. So I'm just going to kind of darken that up a little bit. And then right around in here, it's a little darker, like a gray color. So now I'm going to take my blender stump and I'm going to blend that all in. So it's nice and neat. Now eventually you'll work on this eye over here and it would be darker if I was doing the whole face with you, but I'm not going to work on the whole face for time's sake. But I am going to go in and I'm just going to kind of blend that out, all that through, and I'm going to erase out my glare spots. I'm going to kind of go back over this again because it may need to be a little darker gray than I had it. So I'm going to try to get this extreme glare here out of there. And then there's an extreme glare there. There's a little bit of a glare here. And there's a little bit of one here. And there's one over here. I'm just going to gently erase out some of that dark area there. Kind of go back in. Kind of erase just a little bit. Get this all one gray color again. Not a whole lot. Now I feel like there's something off right in here. So I'm going to kind of reshape his nose right in here. Because it kind of comes up just a little. Like that. There, that's better. Now you have a more three-dimensional nose. I'm going to kind of get rid of this stuff right in here because it's more of a highlight right in there. I'm going to take my finger and just kind of blend it to give it a soft blend. Right in there, like that. Now, Elvis has a shadow right in here that we'll have to get taken care of. So we'll go ahead and get that shadow in right in here. It's kind of right in there. We'll take the blending stump and kind of blend that in right in there. Eventually you'll work this, I would work this whole side of this face if I were going to finish this up, and this would all be really dark right in here. But I'm going to kind of leave that alone for now and just focus on showing you how to do these things that I told you I would show you how to do. Okay, so in the middle of Elvis's lips here is a really, really dark shadow. we want to go ahead and get that in. And then it's kind of darker on this side. But this part's just gray. And this part, I'm going to go ahead and make this whole part right in here gray, but we'll erase a lot of it out to represent the highlight on his lips there. So I'm going to take my blender, kind of blend some of this in. And then I'm going to take my pencil, and underneath his lip I'm going to give him a shadow, because there's a dark shadow right in here. Like so. I'm going to blend that in. That shadow can kind of be seen all the way up his chin, like so. Like that. Okay? And then, to get this extreme glare in right here, we'd take the eraser and we would kind of erase that area out. So you would do this to your own lips as well, to make them look 3D. And then there's a shadow a highlight right along the top edge of the lips, like that. And that would make them look more three-dimensional. Okay? So I've done an eye, I've done the nose, I've done the mouth. Now I'm going to kind of show you guys how to get started on the hair. If your hair is really dark, like Elvis's hair, you're going to go in and you're going to make the whole thing really, really dark. So I'm going to go in, I'm going to focus on getting his hair pretty dark. Just filling that whole shape in with a really, really, really dark value. Now, if you were doing this, you would fill in the entire shape of your hair. But for time's sake, because I know you don't want to sit here and watch a 50-minute long video, I am just going to shade to right here, and I'm going to stop. And I'm going to show you how to change the values in just this one area, and then you'll know that you could do it in the whole part of your hair. Okay? So, I'm going to move over this way so you guys can see. Notice how Elvis has these really, really dark shadows right in these areas of his hair, but right here he's got some highlights. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the eraser end of my pencil and I'm going to erase out these areas here on the drawing paper. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to, let me see if I can get this over this way so you guys can see the drawing and the picture at the same time. Yes, you can. Okay. So I'm just going to erase out this area. Like so, and then I'm going to erase the top out up here. And then this area right in here. And these are just those highlights that you see on the picture. If you have these in your hair, you would do the same. And then there's a few right in here, just a few, not many. And then I'm going to go back in with my pencil and I'm going to make these areas really dark. And I'm just going to take my pencil and I'm going to make light, thin lines from the dark areas into the highlighted areas to make that look more like hair. I'm going to make this part dark. Just working those areas over so that they look more organic and less like just erased marks, like erased blobs. Notice how I'm making the lines go with the contour of the hair. That's what you'll want to do, is make the lines go in the same direction that the contour of the hair would go, so that it looks more like hair and less like just erased blobs or darkened blobs within the drawing. And that's how you would do that, so that it looks more realistic and more organic. Okay? Alright, so I'm going to leave you here for the day, but before I sign off on the video, I want to show you 2 student examples that I had students do last semester in my Art 1 classes. So let me grab those. This is Cody Olds. Many of you might know Cody Olds. Cody did a really, really good job in Art 1. And as you can see here, he did a really good job with the shading on his face. He found those darker values, and he created those darker values, and he was sure to get in the extreme highlights on his face to make sure everything looked realistic. Okay? This one is Bethany Parker's. Bethany is a senior. Bethany took a little bit more realistic approach. Hers is very, very nice. As you can see, she did a really good job of capturing the detail in her hair, all the highlights and the shadows behind those highlights here. She went in and took her pencil and made the actual lines that represent the curves of the hair. Beautiful work in the glare on her face and in her glasses and around her eyes. I'm going to put both of these student works on the whiteboard beside the smartboard for you to come up and look at. I'm also going to have my picture of Elvis and my beginning drawing that I'm going to put up on the whiteboard as well. You're welcome to look at both of those. Also, don't forget, Miss White is going to come by and she's going to check on you. Alright guys, I hope you have a good day, and I will see you again tomorrow.